Hi there, my name is Kevin and I am from healthagentacademy.com, and I also do training for new agents for a health insurance agency. And in this presentation, my objective here is to show you how to get a license in New York to sell both life and health insurance. Now, just one thing I do want to point out is that this is giving you instructions as if you're a New York resident. If you are looking to get a license in New York and you're not a New York resident, you'd want to first get the license in your home state, and then you'd want to get a non-resident license through New York. But if you follow along, some of the links and things that I provide in this video will be able to help you. So either way, whether you're a resident or a non-resident, again, we're focusing mostly for those who are residents. This is going to be referred to as a life, accident, and health agent license. So those that get the license, the state also refers to it as life, accident, and health license. Oftentimes people refer to it as a health agent or a life agent license, but we're going to be showing you how to get this particular license. And this particular license, I would recommend, rather than getting a license for just life or just health, I recommend getting the license that does both, just because you're going to want to eventually start cross-selling down the road. So now I'm going to show you the steps to get your license. Now, just note that when you're getting your license, I always recommend that you check the state's website just to be on the safe side. Some steps may change a little bit here and there in the future. Try to keep this video as accurate as possible. But just in case they change any of the steps, there's no sense having your license held up. But just to keep the process as simple as possible, I'm just going to walk through this. And down below, you'll be able to see notes that'll give you links to all this information as well. So first thing you want to do is sign up for a pre-licensing course. Then you want to get your fingerprints taken. Then you want to schedule your exam, because you will have to take a state exam. Then you're going to need to apply for your license. And then you're going to need to go take that exam, and you're going to have to pass that test. And I'm going to go into more in depth on all these different steps. So we're going to walk through that here. So just to walk through those steps, I'm going to show you all the different screens you can go to get more information. So first thing to do, of course, is if you're on the State of New York's website, this is for their Department of Financial Services website. If you go over here where it says Prospective Life A&H Insurance Agents, and again, A&H is Accident and Health. So if we click on that, it's going to give you more information about applying for this particular license, who's eligible, what type of exceptions they make to some of the requirements. Generally speaking, most people are not, especially if you're new to insurance, you're not going to have any exceptions to what they're requiring. But it's good just to check it out, just to make sure that the direction you're going with everything, you've got all your ducks in a row, so to speak, because getting an insurance license can be a little complicated. But again, we're just going to try to streamline this for you, just so you can see how you can quickly get this done. So again, first step after you've just double checked the state and what the state is requiring, you're going to apply for a pre-licensing course. Now, with the pre-licensing course, you have a lot of different courses you can use. There are courses that you can go into a classroom. There's courses you can go online. Now, personally, when I got my insurance license, I went the online route. And the reason for that is I've got a busy life. I've got a busy schedule. And if you're anything like me, that's probably the case. And you probably may have challenges being in a classroom from, like, let's say 6 to 8 p.m. 3 nights a week, or whatever the case is, however the class is structured. Whereas for me, it was easier just to weave in the course into my own busy life. And that's the direction I've found seems to work for most people, is to do the online route. And I haven't found where New York publishes the passing courses for their approved pre-licensing course vendors. And some states do. And in the agency I work for in Florida, we use a company called License Coach. Their pass rates are considerably higher than the competition, and that's, again, using information in a state such as Florida that that does publish that information as far as who has the higher pass rates than other vendors. I mean, just to put it in perspective, there were some vendors that had pass rates for their students were maybe 30-40%, whereas License Coach was in the mid 70s as far as pass rates for their students. I mean, so having some courses have more than double pass rates than others speaks loudly to the quality of the product itself. And again, this is the product that I recommend folks use. If you do decide to use License Coach, it's pretty simple. You could just go over here to sign up. You would just put in the state that you're looking for. So in this case, it would be New York. Just go down here, select New York, click go. And you actually could save $10. They were nice enough to provide a coupon code, which is, again, provided down below if you are interested in using this particular service. And again, this is who I recommend new agents for the agency that I work for use. So they have a great product. And again, in the states such as Florida that publish the pass rates of various licensing courses, they tend to have some of the highest pass rates for their students. So again, it's a quality product. So again, you got to start taking the course. That's your first step. And then after you take the course and get signed up for the course, while you're doing that, you're going to also need to get your fingerprints taken. So here's the website. And again, I've got the link down below where you could go. You could schedule your fingerprinting. And this is the approved fingerprinting company for quite a few divisions of the state of New York. And if you need more instructions, New York has also supplied this particular document here. Now, in this document, they do point out that if you are a resident of New York State, and what they actually say is that you have a address in New York State, you are required, and you can see over here, they do make required in bold, to be electrically fingerprinted by MorphoTrust, and MorphoTrust is Ident2Go, which is the company that we listed here. So I would definitely recommend using them. New York, like many states, does require that you use particular vendors, and in their case, it's Ident2Go, which is the same vendor that quite a few different states use. So they're a reputable vendor. They typically have places you can go all over to schedule your fingerprints. But again, I would recommend doing this fairly early on in the process because there's always a little bit of a lag time. So the company has to get your results, you have to schedule it, so there may be a couple days even before you can get your appointment scheduled. So what you would do is you go to some location, could be a UPS store, could be a variety of different places depending on in your area where they have locations. They usually farm out like the actual locations to other companies. But what you would do is you would get your fingerprints taken electronically, then that gets sent off to the state, and there's some sort of processing involved. So you don't want to keep that processing waiting, so to speak. So you don't want to be waiting for the state to process that information. When you down the line, you want to get your license as quickly as possible. So again, I recommend pretty much right after you sign up for your licensing course that you go ahead and get your fingerprints at least scheduled. So that way you're not waiting down the line when you're ready to start selling insurance and you can't because you're waiting on your license because they still are processing your fingerprinting. So again, do it early so you don't have to worry about it later on. So next step, what you're going to do is you're going to schedule your exam. And the exams sometimes can have availability within a couple days. Sometimes you have to wait weeks. So I've seen it happen where people have had to wait a couple to 2, 3, 4 even weeks sometimes to get a time near them to take the exam. So I would go ahead, and if I were you, when you're probably about halfway through the pre-licensing course, I found that seems to be, for most people, a good time to schedule the exam. And if you at least schedule it, if you go down here, like on this particular site, oops, didn't mean to select that, but if you go down here, reschedule, cancel test, now you'd create some sort of login and whatnot, and you could log into their website, and you could just reschedule the exam. Now, I would make sure when you sign up, is it 48 hours or whatever the case is of when you can reschedule, like when is the drop dead date, so to speak, of when you can reschedule your exam. But I think there's something to be said for having it on your calendar, knowing that a week from Thursday or whatever the case is, you're going to have to go take the exam. So that makes you more motivated, from what I've found, or at least for most people, it makes them more motivated to finish up that licensing course so that they're able to take the test when they were scheduled to take that test. But again, get it on the calendar about halfway through taking your pre-licensing course, so that way you at least know it's coming up, and it puts a little pressure on you in a good way, I think, if you do have it on your calendar. At least it has for the people I've recommended this to that have followed this advice. But I mean, I would recommend at least putting it on your calendar, and again, maybe also marking on your calendar when the drop dead date is of when you can reschedule it. So that way, if you start realizing like that you're just not quite ready for the test, that's fine. Just reschedule it for another time, but at least you're keeping the process moving along and you're in control of the process. So next thing you're going to do is apply with the state. So you just would come down here on this, and again, the links are all down below. So you'd click on here, individual life and health and accident, and just to kind of decode what they've got here. So you see where it says submission codes here, resident 12347. You don't necessarily have to provide all of those if you're a New York resident. So you would have to provide the application. There is a fee, and they've got that below. And you would have to make sure that you have a pass score for the life and health and or accident and health exam taken within 2 years, which again, you would make sure that you have that done. But you don't have to worry about number 4, because number 4 is in lieu of number 3. So this is for continuing education credits. Now, you don't need continuing education credits until you've been continuing in the business. So don't worry about your continuing education credits if you're new to this business. You're just going to basically sign up, take the course, get the exam, and that's satisfying the requirements that they have here. And then number 7 they wanted you to provide is required filing of a partnership, corporation, or limited liability company or trade name. But that's not necessarily if you are just going to be as yourself. So if you have any questions regarding that, they do recommend, though, that if you are going to use some sort of business name, that before you filing with the clerk office of New York, that you check with them. So they've got their email address for licensing at dfs.ny.gov, and it's not a bad idea just to check with them if you had any particular questions along the way. Then down here they do list, if you're out of state, this is where this video is helpful for those out of state. It's the fees, which vary quite a bit depending on the state as to what you would have to pay. But this is basically the application itself, which you could print out and then send to them, and just ask, the basic questions about your background. Do make sure that if any questions you're ever in doubt as to yes or no, always be better answering yes in certain things than answering no if a question really is yes, such as something in your background. Departments of Financial Services in most states that I've seen, in New York, I have no reason to believe otherwise, is a lot more forgiving to those who are forthcoming than to those that do not. tell the truth in the front end. That's one of the things about insurance, is an insurance, basically the whole reason of getting a license, they just want to make sure that you're a trustworthy person, and telling the truth about anything in your background is definitely something they want to make sure that you are doing. So that's my advice to people. I mean, I've seen people with all kinds of different things in their backgrounds, but because they did divulge it, they had no problems. For those that did not divulge certain things, they tend to have problems, and sometimes are unable to get their license, or maybe they have to wait a certain number of years to get their license. So again, just be honest on the front end. So don't want to belabor that point too much, but this is the application. So once you've done all that, then you're going to start getting ready to do your test. And when you are taking your exam, just remember, it's not an easy exam. And again, I couldn't find in New York where they list the pass rates for the exam. Now, a lot of states do have the pass rates, and sometimes we'll have, like Florida has all kinds of different ways of dissecting, including by pre-licensing course vendor. But I can tell you, generally speaking, in the states that do have the exam, it generally tends to be about 50%. That means half pass and half don't. So it is critical to make sure that you're ready for that exam. But again, there's a point in time where you just have to say, I've learned all I can learn, and I'm ready to just move forward. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I always tell people is that insurance sometimes can be an overly complicated world. And your job as an insurance agent is to explain things to clients in a way that is more accessible and easier to understand. And what I recommend people do is that if you've got a concept that you're trying to learn and it's just not making sense, like you keep taking maybe practice tests, and maybe there's certain things about life insurance, and you're having trouble understanding the difference between, let's say, whole life and term life. Well, if you're having trouble understanding a certain thing, well, one, that's natural. Everyone that takes the exam has problems with some particular section. It may be different for all different people, but it's 100% normal. I just want to express that. But what I would do is take whatever that is that you're trying to learn and go teach someone else. So find someone you know who has no background in insurance. I mean, other than maybe buying an insurance policy for their car, or, having health insurance, they really don't have an insurance background. So explain that to them in a way that they understand what you're talking about. Because if you can explain something to someone that well, one, you're teaching it. And if you're teaching it, you clearly know the material more than if you're just trying to just soak it up like a sponge. So the best way, again, to learn is by teaching. And then two, you're also practicing for when you work in insurance as an insurance agent. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, as an insurance agent, you have to explain things that sometimes can be very complicated in very layman's terms. And that's what makes really good insurance agents, are ones that are able to explain things to clients so that clients understand and feel like they're not just being shoved an insurance policy down their throat, but actually being able to make an informed decision and feeling good about the decision they made to purchase an insurance policy. And that's really the whole point of being an insurance agent, is helping people through that process. So you can actually start getting some practice on that while you're getting ready for your licensing course. While you're getting ready for your licensing exam and taking that licensing course. So what I recommend you also do is just take a deep breath. Again, I stress how much you have to take it seriously, but also remember, every insurance agent out there took the exam and passed it. If they didn't pass the exam, they wouldn't be there. They were in the same shoes you were. I was in the same shoes you are if you're looking to get licensed, or if someone you know is looking to get licensed. So no matter what, it's not an easy test, but it's passable. So don't focus on the people that don't pass. Focus about how you're going to be one of the ones that does. And if for whatever reason you don't pass the first time, you're in good company. I know a lot of really smart people that haven't passed the first time. Now, I would definitely set your goal, if you are looking to take this for the first time, is to make sure that you're setting yourself up for the best possible chance to pass the first time. And if you don't pass the first time, oh well, you can retake it. A lot of people have had to retake it. But again, every agent out there that is selling insurance has taken the course, or excuse me, has taken the exam. Well, they've taken the course, and then they've also taken the exam, and they've passed the exam. So if they can do it, you can too. I know you can. So if you're ready to start your insurance career, go ahead, start following some of the steps we listed here. If you're ready to get started, getting up there, helping clients, making money, sign up for a pre-licensing course just to get that process started. So again, down below, if you decide to use License Coach, that's great. We do have a coupon code that will save you a little bit of money if you go through them. If not, no worries. There's all kinds of different courses you can use, and there's a lot of really good ones out there too. So, but again, License Coach is who I recommend, and again, you can save some money if you use the code that we've got down below. So also, if you want more information just in general about health insurance, sign up for our email list at healthagentacademy.com, and we'll be more than happy to provide you with all kinds of good information to help you get started in your insurance career. So I'd like to wish you the best of luck in your new insurance career. Insurance has been good to me. It's been good to a lot of people that I know, and I hope that it's going to be a career that's going to be good for you too. So I wish you all the best. Thanks for watching this video. Bye-bye.